I want to tell you about a few things. So let's go. Welcome. I was just releasing anger and I will drop it somewhere. I think a snippet. It's not like, it's something that is not staged, so it's just very raw. And it's basically my own need of connect with, like I had this card with Wild Woman the other day. Yesterday, actually. And I felt in certain situations like I needed to look at the anger and not look at it. I just needed to connect with that and release it. It's not something that we often very easily jump into as anger, rather cover it with sadness or something. I'm not sure if you had that experience, but when you, even now I had burp, release burp. But if you ever had this releasing emotions or like activating your body and you had like first you thought you're like down or maybe then you were sad, and if you had this moment of really realizing that underneath it was like a cake, like layers of cake, that was actually anger, and how quickly it can shift actually from releasing sadness then going and suddenly feeling anger. It's incredible. And then again, maybe living and then feeling maybe sadness. And then maybe underneath of that, there is a bit of like joy a little bit. Or, you know, like it's a very incredible feeling. And for today, I wrote to myself, what needs to be closed? What do I need to close today? What needs to be closed today? And I felt like I had this celebration of the house, which is the new space. That's why it's still like some pieces are hanging and not finished. And I had just had it on Saturday. And I still felt like I want to have more receiving and giving love to this place, because it has been challenging, the process of even taking steps towards something. Sometimes when we're touching some topic, it might be surprising that it has so many other memories and energies and things coded in us around the topic. Like in this case, the topic of home had for me so many other like ancestors' stories and connotations, and being able to receive home was for me like receiving like accepting on a deep level, on a soul level, accepting, and on a human level basically, because the soul accepts it, but on the level that soul consciousness wanted to engage in this place, and on the human level of how difficult it is at times and how not fitting into this place it is. So it comes to the point that it was my journey, and I see a lot of people's journey was about receiving fact of being here, receiving home in here, receiving earth, receiving Gaia into your heart, connecting with Gaia, going from there to here. And that's part of the connections that I share, of the energy connections, of the soul connections, of the intuition connections. It's about connecting here and like this, opening up to expanding even more to your consciousness, to your soul consciousness, and the same time to your human self, and bringing that energy and power in here. So I'm sharing that because maybe you can ask yourself that question: what is for you to close up today? And when I thought about the house, I still felt, even though I kind of laughingly celebrating it with friends, I still feel like I wanted to do a energy work here, to celebrate it, to make it like a sacred place. I often work like this as well, to bring the energy to the space that I am in, to bring intention, to code the space, to code my field, etc. That's just a side note of like how you can work your own being, with your own energy. And I felt with this question of what needs the closure, what needs to be closed, I felt like I need also some kind of ritual or of energy connection. What am I closing right now? And connecting with it deeper. And I don't know what is it for you, but for me there was this, around the topic of the house, there was a lot of challenge and struggle. And things were not as they were planned. And they were tagging along for months, and it costed me a lot on a lot of levels. And that's one of the things that I was already like birthing myself out to new recently. And at times we really feel like it takes a while to step forward to a new space, but rest assured that when we are closing like a bigger chapter, I feel a lot of because with this anger, I was releasing a lot from my chest. In the end, there was this very intense, like almost, like very high release, like these breaths and the yawning and all of this body shakes, and all of these things are released from your system, not only your nervous system, physical body, but also from your energy body. And I just felt like I am suffocating the breath, and I'm like, I needed to catch a breath. This is the feeling, like the weight on the chest. And actually it repeated recently in the connection that I shared. So I would say that if you pop into this video, perhaps this is what I am picking up on, that in this group in here, whoever is joining, whenever, doesn't matter at what time, that you feel maybe even anxiety, honestly. So just like breathe into your chest, slow down. Release the suppressed emotions. The card that I picked up in the short reading was the feelings, the meter, the feelings and emotions. And what came later, there were two other cards. And I think I just kind of like edited somehow, also because there was just 3 minutes in a short. But it was also, I picked up on the bottom, there was a card of crisis, and then I opened, the deck split. It's a goddess deck, goddesses. And there was a change. And I somehow feel maybe this is a part of this message more than it was before. So sometimes what I wanted to say as well, that remember that there is a layer of closing like a bigger cycle. And then as we're going more in connection, things seem to be lighter. Things seem to be expansive more, I would say it. Well, lighter maybe appears at some time, but as we are channeling into it, focusing on it, bringing it in, setting intention, then it becomes more lighter. Or I would say, okay, there's more lighter and ease and moments of synchronicities and connections coming more often and often, as we also set intention to experience it more. But also when we're closing the bigger cycles, I think it's big. I mean, it's intense at times, and it's I'm also talking about this. It can be multiple things like appearing quickly, but it's because it is leading you to this cycle closure, the bigger cycle closure. Just an instant. And that's why it might feel so various, like it's, fluctuating and a lot, like often, and big themes perhaps. But then you can allow or open to it more and more when you connect and let it pass through more and more. And that's why in this big closures, that's why I think that card popped in, because I think in the bigger cycles, there are two things I still want to say. In the bigger cycles, partially some kind of even release of the things might be a crisis on its own. So not to take this word, because the same time, not to take this word so strongly, because the same time, that's the second part, that's the second thing. The same time, at the same time, trying to slow down. It's part of the change. At the same time, you are whole. At the same time, you are connected to something higher, and you are not this identification of the experiences that happen to you in here. And the part of that, which I also been looking into, is to see this from a higher like of the soul consciousness level, higher level, integrating higher level of connection, of openness of the heart, and experiencing it from a different a different point. And that wholeness, and not being the struggle, the pain, the survival, the scarcity, the fear, not being the story that happened to you, the family you were born into, and all of this. The same time, you are experiencing yourself as a soul in here. For various reasons, you came here to experience it, which is your expansion, which is also bringing your light in here and your vibration. But it's also your journey, that is part of your whole being, which is not only here. And what I'm trying to say, that there's to remember that there is this level of your being that is way on another spectrum and vibration and perspective to this reality and to these experiences. And I think when you connect through the heart with that, pretty much the only way to go through certain crises. This is the only way to look at certain stories in this planet, in this world, and your own story often, and traumas. This is the only way to being able to, I would say, integrate them from that love space that is understanding that both spectrums can be seen. There is many spectrums, but all the experiences can be seen from different perspectives, can be good and bad at the same time, can be horrific and lead to something absolutely like incredible that you're maybe sharing with the world. So yeah, perhaps work with that. Well, check out that question of what is closing for you, or what do you need to close now, and perhaps you can have some connection. You can do some connection for yourself with this. Maybe we can just do it for a moment right now. Try to tune in. Just barely be present. Feel your chest. This expansive ball of light that is there, beaming. And let's together invite, like, how do you want to, what is needed? What do you need to close right now? What is needed for you to close it? I've heard the sentence, embrace yourself in it. And how can you close it? Can you welcome the thing that comes to your mind with, what do you need to close? What is ready to be closed? What are you closing now, and what do you need to close it? Perhaps just sit with that and go deeper into it, and find your way to express it through the body. Feel the emotions. Invite it perhaps just to be with you. Invite another perspective, higher perspective from your heart space. And breathe to it. And perhaps also thank this situation. If you haven't checked like what the situation brought you, what gifts it brought you, even if it doesn't seem like it had any gifts, perhaps connect with what gifts, and thank for the situation, bringing you these lessons, these gifts, these integrations, this release. There was some energy in you that needed to get out on the surface, and regardless where that energy comes from. And thanks to this situation, thanks to this chapter of your life, it could come to the surface. Thanks to that person, it could come to the surface, and you could see it, you could feel it, you could feel the emotions that got stuck some time before, or you inherit those, or you inherit that program that caused later in life, like struggle with something or in emotions. Normally first you like allowing the emotions to leave through your body is needed before you actually honestly feel in your body to thank it. Or you can hold even both spaces, because now I think you can hold more spaces, more angles of the situations, more perspective at once, more even emotions. It can be both. It can be a wave intertwined of your awareness, higher awareness, and then moments that you get pissed at that situation or person or something. You can hold both. You can stay with that and even go deeper, burn a candle or incense and stay with what you're closing and do your own ritual in your own way. Stay with the breath and dance, move, and ask it. Just ask, connect with yourself and tune back, like tune more into your senses to get your own answers. And I hope this will be a great invitation for that, to and like a trigger to like, now it's the moment to do that. Oftentimes I need that trigger myself to finally sit down with something. And tune into something that I have, like I'm able to connect with a group like community or YouTube something, and that trigger is enough to like take it and run with it, let's say, like take it and connect with it further and dive into it, or like unwrap the layers that are sometimes cramping our view or, you know, masking our view or ability to process something. And then this is a moment when we are like, or we don't want to see it, or we are avoiding it. I feel like it was quite chaotic at the beginning, as I was myself like shaking and releasing the anger, but I think what was needed to be said today and right now, it was pretty much covered. Thank you for your presence. If you are still here up to now, I hope it helps, and then you can connect in your own moment of closing things, closing chapters, closing situations. And I appreciate any comments and interactions and likes, as it's giving me energy back and it gets me moving. And if you would like to perhaps dive into something deeper with me and work on that, or get like a recorded soul connection message, intuition expansion, in those sessions also there is like releases happening and things coming through, what you need to hear, what you need to connect with, then yeah, there are links below. Thank you. See you next time.